Hello, my name is Georgia Steele, and I will be covering Chapter 4, which is International Methods of Entry. What is a method of entry, you ask? This is a strategy or method by which a firm will enter the global market. There are many different methods of entry, and in this presentation, we will cover them. Indirect exporting, active exporting, production abroad, licensing, franchising, joint ventures, and subsidiaries will all be covered. There are many factors that need to be considered when entering the global market, and choosing which method of entry to use is very important. So the size of the market, the growth of the market, how much the firm wants to be involved in their operations overseas, what product will be manufactured and sold, and what time horizon the company has to accomplish this are all important factors that need to be considered. Choosing the wrong entry method can cause the business to fail on their global venture. A recent example of this is the Target Corporation. They attempted to enter the Canadian market. They decided that they were just going to continue using franchising, which is what they have used in the United States, and it is extremely successful. They're one of the top companies, I believe on the top 100 companies in the Forbes list. And they just wanted to use this because they just assumed it would be successful over there because it's successful over here. And Canadians are similar to Americans, right? Well, that's wrong. They did not do their proper research. They didn't gauge their market. They didn't study consumer trends. They were not prepared, and they did not pick the correct method of entry. They had a big failure on the Canadian market. And now all they have there is an e-commerce website, which still exhibits flaws because they still have yet to tailor make their corporation to the Canadian market. They're still trying to do what they're doing here in the United States. And if they had selected a different method of entry and they had done more substantial research, they might be more successful in the Canadian market today. So we have indirect exporting will be our first method of entry. There are many advantages. It is the lowest risk of all the entry methods. It requires low firm involvement, has low investment, but this is for firms that want less control and less risk. But for firms that want more control and higher rewards, this is not the best selection. They should choose a different method of entry. Under indirect exporting, there are export training companies, which are used by companies who are unwilling to undertake any of the activities of marketing abroad. These ETCs purchase the goods in a foreign country for that company and then resells them in another country, which then generates the profit for that main company who started this indirect exporting. While similar to an ETC, an export management corporation is an overseas representative that acts as an intermediary in a foreign country and makes a commission on any sale between suppliers and buyers. Now, we have piggybacking as well. This is for the reluctant exporter. This is when a manufacturer goes overseas and asks its suppliers to continue doing business with them. So they piggyback off their manufacturers and they go do business relationships with those manufacturers' partners. And so they're kind of piggybacking off of what they're doing to boost their own relationships and sales in that foreign country. Active exporting is for the firm that wants to be actively involved in their foreign affairs. This can be done by using an agent, a distributor, or a marketing subsidiary. An agent is an overseas representative for the manufacturer in sales negotiations. A distributor is an overseas company that purchases and manufactures products with the goal of selling them as the product. So the distributor acquires a higher risk than the exporter in this relationship because they handle the marketing, the negotiations, the inventory, and if that inventory is not sold, then it stacks up and they start to lose money. So they assume the higher risk in this relationship. So companies that use a distributor tend to be on the better end of the relationship because sometimes it fails for the distributor, unfortunately. A marketing subsidiary is similar to agents and distributors because it sells the exporter's products, but it is different because this is a firm that is owned by that same exporter. The costs are higher for the exporter, but they're fixed, so they're able to adjust their business operations to fit this into their budget. Having a subsidiary allows the company to have high levels of control in their sales in foreign markets, which is very attractive to many companies. Next, we have production abroad. This is when companies start their foreign operations abroad. Like, they don't start it here in their home country. For example, if they were in the US, they wouldn't start their businesses here and then they would export and import from another country. They would just go to that other country, start their business operations there, so they kind of cut out the middle part. This can save money because manufacturers' costs are lower abroad usually. They have less regulations sometimes as well. Contract manufacturing is a form of producing abroad. This is an arrangement between two companies where one manufacturer makes the goods for the other manufacturer. So it's kind of a win-win. One gets the money, one makes products, and then they kind of have a good relationship. Licensing is an arrangement between two companies where one uses the other's intellectual property, like their process, their design, their trademark, in exchange for royalties. So one company creates the original product, and then in licensing, another company uses certain design or a certain way that they do their business to help their business, and this company, the original company, makes money off of that relationship. So they're both beneficial. One uses a popular form of product or design and they make money, and then they spend money and give it to the original company, so they're both making a good end in this deal. Licensing is really cool. Franchising is granting the rights to several intellectual properties, like we talked about with Target, into a big package. So they're buying this package with all these different components of a company, and then they are using that to have a business as well. It's like McDonald's, for example. If a person wanted to have a McDonald's franchise, they would purchase the rights to the McDonald's logo, to their food, their ingredients, to their look, to anything that's McDonald's, and they would set up their own shop. So it's two separate McDonald's, but they're the same. So they're making their own amount of money, but they're also paying McDonald's Corporation to have that business. So it's a really cool, it's used quite often. A joint venture is an overseas company that is jointly owned by two or more companies. So they're just going in it together. It's kind of like they're splitting the risk, splitting the investment, and they're also splitting the revenue or income that's generated. Finally, we have a subsidiary, which is a company that is entirely owned by a company in a foreign country. So this is 100% investment in a foreign venture by a firm. They allow firms to have total control of their foreign operations and assume all risks and rewards. So if you're wanting to go all in, get all the risks, all the rewards, a subsidiary is for you. We also have many problems that companies face when they enter into the global market, and one would be parallel imports. This is one of the greatest risks that firms confront in the foreign market. They're also referred to as gray market goods. So these are goods that are purchased in one country by unauthorized intermediaries and sold to unauthorized dealers in another country. So it's pretty much stealing a product and copying it as your own and then selling it for a profit. And the original mother company has no idea of this. There are counterfeit goods as well. Counterfeit goods are manufactured to look exactly like certain companies' original products, and they were not approved by the brand owner. So it's similar to gray market goods, but they have smaller differences. Okay, so next we have the other issues that are related to methods of entry. So there are issues. When I say issues, I don't mean it in a negative way. These are just different things that companies may face whenever they enter the global market. So foreign trade zones are one of these issues. It is an area in a country that have specific purposes, which are to encourage foreign trade and investments. This is an area that is in a country, but is considered outside the country to allow no taxes and no quotas on goods. So it stimulates the economy and it makes it really attractive to foreign companies. This is attractive because some companies, they don't want to do business in their countries because they have high tariffs and they have quotas on their goods and there's extreme regulation. So it's really attractive. If a country sets this up, it brings in a lot of trade to their area. We also have maquiladoras. They are companies located in Mexico with a custom status like that of a foreign trade zone in the United States or Mexico. So it's kind of like a foreign trade zone, but it's just a company. It's a single company rather than an area or a region of a country. It's just a single company that has all the benefits, kind of like a foreign trade zone. Foreign sales corporations were created for tax reducing purposes for exporters to make it attractive. While there are conditions to using these corporations, many companies take advantage of this benefit. There are also anti-bribery conventions that were established to require countries to punish companies for engaging in bribery, which led to the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which was established in the United States, and it severely punishes U.S. companies that are engaging in bribery outside of the U.S. borders. So these are all issues that companies who are wanting to engage in foreign trade may come across. So, all things considered, when a company decides to enter a global market, careful planning needs to take place before diving right in. Selecting the correct method of entry will enable a business to successfully compete with other companies on the global market. They need to make sure whatever they pick fits their company. So like, for example, Target, they picked the wrong one because it did not fit their needs, their goals, and the market that they were trying to appeal to. Each option has different advantages that will appeal to the different types of businesses, so it's important to find the right fit. Incorrect selection of an entry method could send the business in a downward spiral, such as Target. It is important to be honest and transparent in the global market. Countries want to trade with one another because trade is an important way to generate wealth, spread culture, establish relationships, and boost economies. So these are all things that should be considered when selecting a method of entry and entering the global market. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I hope you have a wonderful day.